We should give them another round of applause. They were wonderful. Thank you, teacher and Himal. So we come to the next segment of the Humanitas program today, where we discuss Tagore, education, and his influence. Yes. So on stage, I invite Emeritus Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, the founder head of the Department of Medical Humanities, and Professor Pandita Karunanayaka, who actually conceptualized the Humanitas program, and our in-house philosopher, as we sometimes like to call him. So here they are. Welcome, both sirs, on stage. So before we start this segment, we are going to have listen to one song, Akla Chalore, Walk Alone, and we will discuss some elements of that song in relation to education as well. To do this, I call on stage Dr. Adhikari. She is a medical officer at the Sri Jayawardhana General Hospital, and as you can see, she has come in full Bengali attire to support the Humanitas program. So let's give her a round of applause before we start our next segment. Thank you, Susantika. Susantika is a vocalist, a sitarist, and also a dancer in Indian traditions. We thank her and we will move on to this segment discussing some of these aspects. I will start with Professor Panduka Karunanayaka. Sir, can you share with us your ideas about how Tagore thought about education?
Thank you so much, Tusha. Yes. Well, basically, to quite fully understand the full significance of Tagore's ideas about education, we should go back to his time, which was like the beginning of the turn of the 20th century. At that time, in the 1760s, we had the Industrial Revolution in Europe, and people started putting up factories and they needed workers in the factories. And the education at that time was basically started, the universal education by governments was started to prepare the workforce for factories, to train them about how to work according to a timetable, basic mathematical skills and linguistic and language skills and so on, literacy and numeracy and so on. And they were kind of like regimented to work in the factory. And this is the educational tradition that the British brought to India as well. Now this is the background in which Tagore started to speak about education. He thought this was not a good idea for education. He thought education should be an act of emancipation. It should be driven by wonder, imagination, creativity, freedom to learn as you want. Not to be something focused on learning any specific matter or for a specific purpose, but to just learn about the world. And that's how he started his ideas. But actually, his ideas are very modern even today, because the modern education is now understand some of the things that he has been saying. For example, he was one of the first people to associate education with emotions. Earlier, education was thought of something very rational and not emotional. He is the first one who said, one of the earliest ones who said education should be not with books, but with nature. It should not be one inside buildings, but in the villages. We should not be learning how to solve problems by working solutions, but rather going to the village and asking the villagers what are your problems and helping to solve them by applying your principles there. So you can see it's a very different kind of education which he brought to India against the British background, and it is still we are still understanding how correct it is.
It's almost as if we have come a full cycle. Yes. Okay. So from Professor Koperheva, can I ask, when you think about the time in which Tagore lived, did he challenge the status quo of education at that time in that society?
Yes. I think the one reason is he was unhappy with his school education that he received, because he was unhappy about the kind of schools that he was sent in his childhood. And also what he wanted is to bring education close to life. He was not, and also because he's a strong advocate of learning in natural surroundings. So he wanted to establish ideal school. This is Santiniketan, 1901, it's in the early 20th century, and later it became a Vishwabharati. So one reason is that basically he challenged the conventional education, because for the Indian society he had a lot of faith about the education, that we can change the society by educating the children, and also thought about the inclusive and cross-cultural education, not giving just one aspect of life or the subjects, but have a more holistic education. So I'm happy that like in future, your medical professionals will be more familiar with the humanities, about the figures like Tagore, not only Tagore, but local intellectuals like Sarat Chandra, Kumaratunga or Martin Vikramasinghe. So we thought of like, especially Tagore, try to bridge the gap between the East and the West. So he kept his doors open, as I said earlier, focusing the development of the whole person, not one aspect. So he was unhappy with the school. I think our students know how much that you spend on these subjects in your school time, especially in the medical students right now. So
they're very tired.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Okay.
Some of them right now as well.
So the idea of freedom was there. especially in the Santiniketan, and as Panduga said, the creativity, one of the areas. So it was like, that's why most of our early intellectuals like Sarat Chandra, Sunil Shanta, Anand Samarako, they were studied in Santiniketan. So we can discuss this later.
Right. So I will now go to the slide